Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, 7 Transferable Skills to Help You Thrive, with career coach and UCLA alumna Lucy Tseng. My name is Joseph Blancas, and I serve as an Associate Director for Alumni Career Engagement at UCLA Alumni Affairs. Now, to start our program, I'm excited to introduce Lucy Tseng. Lucy's purpose in life is to inspire and support others in finding, pursuing, and living their own passions and purpose. In 2014, Lucy graduated from the University of San Francisco with a master's degree in sports management. Her master's thesis focused on building a program to include life skills and development training for student athletes. Lucy's breadth of experience has helped her discover her passion, being a resource to all people. I'll turn it over to Lucy to start our program.
So that you may be at your peak as you need it. And I have the opportunity of working full-time for UCLA Development as the Director of Chancellor Society, which is our annual leadership giving recognition program. So anyone who gives $1,000 and above at UCLA within a fiscal year gets to be a member of the UCLA Chancellor Society. In addition to that, I'm also a really proud Rotarian, and my club focuses on fighting human trafficking locally in Los Angeles, but also globally as an issue that is, all over the world. And most importantly, I would say I am a mommy to baby Lauren, as you can see her in her favorite outfit, and Tunchi, the husky. All right. With that, what are transferable skills? So if you have your own definition, feel free to use the chat to share what you think transferable skills might be. But the gist of it is transferable skills are skills that you can take from one job or opportunity to another. And I want to be clear, it's not just about your work life. There's transferable skills that you can bring from your home to work, from work to home, within your friendships. Life is a lot about management. And, many of us have the opportunity to be in a leadership role at work, but we also happen to be the CEO of our household, and being able to manage the schedules of children, of you and your partner, or you yourself. And then also at work, you and those who you supervise, but also managing upward and helping your supervisors understand how to best work with you. Those are all opportunities in which you can pick out your transferable skills and utilize them as needed. And I also want to be clear, transferable skills can be learned and improved upon with practice. So it's not something that you either have or you don't have. Some people have certain skills stronger than others, but there's definitely an opportunity to improve upon them with practice as you use it more. All right, so we're going to jump right into the 7 skills that I had mentioned to be able to help you thrive. The first 4 are here. I want to preface that this conversation that I typically have with my clients about transferable skills usually lies in the world of athletes who are retiring from being a full-time athlete, transitioning into the workforce. I did write an article a few years ago that's specifically about transferable skills, athletes transitioning into the workforce, which I'll provide the link at the very end if you're interested in that very unique topic. But I've also taken each of these transferable skills today and customized them to be more appropriate for our conversation to anyone who is looking to thrive in your life. So the first transferable skill we'll talk about today is dedication. Please feel free to use the chat to share your feedback on any of these as well. So we'll start with dedication. Being consistent is extremely important. Consistency is one of the foundations for building trust and reliability when you work with others. And that is extremely important in making sure that you can accomplish things in the workplace or in your personal life. The second one would be communication. I'm sure everyone here has been in a position in which communication or lack thereof has altered the result of what you were looking to achieve. And communication, I would say, is the number one way in which folks let others know that you respect their time and you respect their input and their opinions. And that really makes a difference in making sure that everyone is involved and we have an inclusive environment. So being able to do that in the workplace or at home really increases the opportunity for you all to live in a thriving lifestyle so that you can face any adversities that may be coming your way. The next one would be perseverance. So it's very clear that adversity in life is inevitable, and everyone has to weather the storm at some point or another. And with that, being able to persevere through some of the biggest challenges in life, whether in the workplace or at home, will be extremely helpful for you to ultimately live a thriving life. And let me put an asterisk in our quick conversation right now. You're not going to be living a thriving life 24/7. Let's just be clear. But these transferable skills are what will bring you back to a lifestyle of being filled with joy and filled with fulfillment, which ultimately will lead to your life being thriving. Lastly on this slide is discipline. So it's very clear that in this world, there are distractions everywhere. Someone who has discipline, someone who can increase their discipline, will also be the same person who is able to build good habits for long-term results. So again, life is not a sprint, it is a marathon, and you will have pit stops here and there. You may run right into a pothole, or you may have run to a water station to refresh yourself. You never know, but distractions are everywhere, and the goal is to get to the finish line. So having discipline will help you build good habits, which will get you to the end goal. The remaining transferable skills include teamwork, leadership, and resilience. So teamwork, as I spoke about already, is extremely important for you to be able to accomplish many things in life. You know, some people do prefer to do things alone, and that's totally understandable. But in reality, we are not alone. Ta-da! You know, when you are someone who others want to be around and others can count on and trust, you will lead a more fulfilling and thriving life. Because when in time you will need support from others, and that is inevitable, they will be there for you because you've been there for them as a great team member. Leadership is also extremely important. There's lots of different leadership styles, and leadership as a transferable skill can really, as I mentioned earlier, be prevalent in both your workplace, in your personal life, at home, because it really is something that will help others understand the value that you bring, but also help others gain their own skills and inspire others to lead a thriving life as well. And lastly, most important to me, and I think resilience is totally relevant to every aspect of life, is, you know, we are all born with resilience. And I spoke about resilience in my last webinar quite a bit. It's the idea of being able to bounce back. So if you are able to master the skill of bouncing back from any adversity that you face, then nothing will keep you from living a thriving life, right? I had mentioned earlier that you may not be thriving every moment 24/7, but the goal is to be able to bounce back to a lifestyle that makes you feel like you are thriving and living a fulfilled life. All right. So with that, we're going to walk the walk. I know it's only been a few minutes since we've started talking. Well, actually 15 minutes already. I'd invite everyone to move around, roll your shoulders, do some stretching to make sure we're not staying sedentary during most of our lunch hour. And then in the chat, we'll put a link that's to a Passion Planner monthly reflection. This monthly reflection, I'd like everyone to take 5 minutes to take a look at the questions in that monthly reflection to be able to get to know yourself a little better. And the reason why I'm asking you to do this, something tangible out of this webinar today, is because getting to know yourself a little better is how you will be able to identify what your values are, what your goal is, and what type of transferable skills you excel at, and what transferable skills you may need to improve upon. So please take the next 5 minutes. I'll set a timer now to look at the monthly reflection questions from the Passion Planner that's in the link in the chat, and then we'll circle back. If you'd like to share any reflections that you may have from answering your questions, feel free to put it in the chat, as I'd love to see folks interact there. And we'll be back in 5 minutes. Alrighty, folks, we're getting close to the 5 minutes. I hope you had a good time doing some of or answering some of these reflection questions. And I like to do this on a monthly basis to better get to know myself and identify the values that are important to me, whom I like to spend more time with, things that I can improve upon, and maybe goals that I've achieved and things that I may need to work more on. Please feel free to use the chat to share your reflection as well. I went ahead and shared mine. With that, before we go into questions and comments, I wanted to invite Joseph back up to the quote unquote stage to talk about a feedback survey, please.
Great. Thank you, Lucy, for sharing some of those transferable skills. I know that we have some questions that we received in registration, and I'm sure there will be some questions from the live audience. But before we transition over to that, I'd like for those in attendance to take a few minutes to fill out our program feedback survey. This information that you provide will help us to determine some future programming from the Career Coaches Network. And if you have any questions for Lucy, we will address those shortly. But as you think about that question, feel free to complete a brief survey that we're going to throw into the chat as of now. But Lucy, question time. We got some during our registration, and you mentioned resilience and kind of discipline and whatnot. The question is, how do you suggest one builds resilience and discipline to kind of pursue something that they might have not pursued before, and kind of staying true to some of the things that you're mentioning, all while kind of navigating the unknown?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And I have to admit, I'm definitely not an expert at navigating the unknown. But what I will say is one of the exciting things, and pardon me, I'd like to everybody to see us more, so I'm going to stop share for now. One of the things that I would say is really helpful in navigating the unknown, but also staying true to yourself, is understanding that sometimes you don't have to get everything right, because getting things wrong also helps you, if you've ever heard of this before, the process of elimination. It gets you closer to what is right. And for me, I remind myself, it's okay to participate in things that maybe I wouldn't like right off the bat. I'll give a perfect example. So I think many of you have heard of, an Oscar-winning movie called Parasite. And it is totally not the genre of movie that I would ever voluntarily watch. But as someone of Asian descent and very active in Asian communities, it was a very popular conversation amongst the dinner table, at any social opportunity, and even, topics that were at formal presentations. So I found myself constantly not really knowing what people were talking about, because I never watched the movie and I didn't understand and definitely felt left out. So instead of staying left out and staying to my, I don't watch those types of movies, I actually watched the movie. Didn't really like it, but now when I have conversations, I actually feel more like I understand, I'm more included and more involved. And it confirmed, again, that I don't like that genre of movies. And I think that that is something, a perspective to answer what you were asking about, Joseph, is don't focus on finding everything that's right. It's okay to get things wrong, because when you get it wrong, it's just a part of the process of elimination to let you know, hey, you know what? Maybe that's not a good fit for me. I won't need to try it again, but now I know, and I'm confirmed that I'm even closer to something that is right for me now.
Great, thank you for answering that question. Another one that we got during registration was advice on kind of regaining a healthy kind of abundance mindset while experiencing extended periods of unemployment, preceding years of success. What would your advice be on that?
Oh, that's definitely challenging. Unemployment has hit a lot of people in the worst possible ways lately, and or traditionally it's been an issue in our country for a while. I would say, use your network and ask people. One of the things I always like to tell my clients when I work with them is, one of the first homework, for lack of better words, is, reach out to the 5 people whom you feel closest to and ask them what they think about you. And really tell them, I don't want you to tell me what I want to hear. I want you to tell me what are the things you like about me and what are the things that you think I can improve upon. Because really, we all think one way of ourselves, but other people may see things about us, good and bad, that we have, blockers to. We have, windshield wipers, we don't see it. What I would also say in terms of navigating unemployment specifically is utilize UCLA Alumni Association. There's a strong career engagement program through UCLA One, these webinars, mentors, and if you are interested working with the coaches in the UCLA networks, utilize your network, utilize your resources. Don't wait for someone else to find you a job, because ultimately a job is something that is going to help you pay your bills maybe, but a career is something that you're passionate about. And most careers don't happen without really doing some recon, using your resources. UCLA alumni, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to, connect you with people based on the areas that you are looking to work in. If you're not really looking to get back into the workforce and you prefer to go into entrepreneurship or something, UCLA has resources for that as well. And I'm also happy to work with you and talk with you about what you need in order to make entrepreneurship a thriving lifestyle for you. It's, again, what I was saying earlier is some people may prefer to do things alone, but in order to live a thriving life, you got to realize that this life is not about being by yourself. Utilize your resources, utilize your network, and trust in people to have your back.
Thank you for plugging the UCLA Alumni Career Engagement team, and also our Career Coaches Network. You're a part of it. We have coaches who we have vetted and are willing to provide coaching and free introductory consultation sessions to our alumni. So if anyone is interested in taking a look at who those coaches are, I just threw that into the chat. Lucy's one of them. She is a great resource to kind of take what you're interested in kind of achieving and narrowing what steps you can take to get there. So please use us as a resource and use Lucy as a resource. Our next question we got is actually in the chat, and it's around the passion planner. Is it something you've used in group settings? And if so, do you suggest a certain group makeup, or is it just anyone who's willing to do the passion planner?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question, Abe. I am an ambassador for Passion Planner, and Passion Planner happens to be a Bruin-owned business. Actually, was started by a Bruin who was my orientation roommate. Surprise, that was pretty cool. Anyway, so I've been using Passion Planner for a long time. I use it for my personal life, but yes, I absolutely use it with my clients as well and in group settings. So there are lots of resources and many of them are free. If you would go on the Passion Planner website, they have easy access to free PDFs for various things. For this monthly reflection specifically, I typically use it in one-on-one settings. I think it's fine to use it in group settings, but it may be a little difficult to get folks to really talk about things if they're not already in an intimate kind of working environment. So if it's a smaller group of, a handful of people, I think it would be easier to facilitate kind of having people to reflect out loud. Otherwise, it may be an activity that would be more appropriate to be done privately, so that this person who's reflecting on things that could be really sensitive or intimate to them may be willing to share with just one other person that they trust versus a whole group of people that they may not know will not judge them for what they reflect on. Because reflection is not just about highlighting the great things, right? Reflection is also about looking at kind of the time that you set away. I tried to go to the gym 3 times a week. Well, didn't work that well last month before my daughter went into daycare. But this month, I have been going to working out 3 times a week. So that's my improvement that I answered in that last question. What do I want to improve? And working out, when I remind myself why I do it, it's not just because I want to exercise, or it's because I want to be healthy, not just for me, but for my daughter, right? So reflection allows me to think about why I am doing the things that I am doing, not just for the intrinsic values, but actually dive deeper into the overall value as to why things are important to me. And sometimes doing that in a more private setting is more comfortable for people. If you feel like your group is generally comfortable with each other already, feel free to try it out. I don't think it would be a bad thing to do.
Yes, I agree. Reflection is a great thing. Another question that we got, I know you work with typically, student athletes transitioning to the workforce, and you've shared some great skills, transferable skills. What are ones that you see clients struggle with the most?
Yeah.
And how do you suggest they kind of get over that hurdle?
Sure, absolutely. The first one I would say is communication. So everyone has a different communication style. So I'll share what I do when I meet a person whom I know I will have to work with more, right? I typically like to ask them, what is your preferred communication style? Some people prefer text, some people prefer email, some people prefer Facebook Messenger or Instagram DMs, whatever it is. It helps to even just ask. And me asking to begin with is a form of communication, right? I would say people have a hard time with communication because we only think about what we need to know. We don't think about what the person we're talking to may need to know. The context of what you're asking is really important. The context of what you're telling someone about is really important. So I always, joke and say that I'm an over communicator. I like to tell more than need to, because I don't want to assume someone is on the same page as I am. I don't want to assume someone knows all the information that I know, because when I do that and they come back to me with something that's not satisfactory to me, I'm going to be pissed. And I'm not even going to realize that I didn't equip them with what they needed to know. So it really is, quote unquote, my fault if they didn't do what I asked them to do, because I thought they were reading my mind. Right. So communication, I think, is one of the most challenging transferable skills. Some people are really good at communication in one aspect of their lives and forget about it totally in another aspect. And that is why it's called transferable. Once you can recognize that you have skills, all types of skills in various areas of your life, and you spend time to reflect on the things that you're good at and the things that you need to improve on, then you'll be able to understand, hey, I want to live a life that's thriving and authentic to me as a whole in every situation possible. I don't want to be a badass at work and not very helpful at home, right? I want to be a badass everywhere. And the only way to do that is to be able to spend time and to reflect on the things that you're good at and things you need to improve on, and build those transferable skills so that you can be great at work and at home.
Nice, thank you for that answer. We have another question from an attendee, and it's, what are some good questions to ask myself so I know what my long-term goals are? I've been in the workforce for 9 years and have worked in different areas, but still I'm not confident in what I really want to do for work in the long term. So
Fantastic.
I think to sum that up is, or what are some reflection questions?
Yeah, really, really fantastic question. And I'm so happy to hear that you're open to diving deeper into yourself, right? I would say one of the first questions you should ask yourself is, what are your values? Are you working so that you can make a lot of money, which is important? Are you working to make an impact? Are you working because you want to work? Or is your current job a 9 to 5 and you'd rather be an entrepreneur? Think about kind of what matters to you. For me, I'll share having a job that I'm personally connected with and passionate about is extremely important to me. And I have sacrificed, compensation or spending more time with my family because of a job that I really love. But that is okay with me because I've asked myself that question. And at this point in my life, well, I should say a year ago, putting my career first was very, very much so top of mind for me. And that was okay. And finding a career that was full of, that made me feel fulfilled was very important. Now that I have a daughter, I do need to bring in a little more money in order to feed her and keep her healthy. And so, yes, my values have changed a little bit. I do still want a job that I love and am passionate about, but I also need that job to compensate me at a point where I can keep my family stable and thriving. And so it's okay to continue to ask yourself questions, what are your values are, and understand that the answer might change over time. Another question I would also ask yourself as you're experiencing kind of like not sure what to do is, who has a job, who has a life that you seem to want to live, right? Reach out to them and ask them, what are you doing in your life that, is having you achieve or accomplish these things that seem to be great? I will put a asterisk on that too. You may not see everything about every person's life. So, just because they seem one way in one aspect does not mean that their life is perfect, but they had to be doing something right if part of their life looks perfect, right? So look at those people. Like for me, I've been reading a lot about Michelle Obama. I know she's not perfect. She's close to perfect, in my opinion, but I've been reading her books. I've been kind of looking at the various things that she's involved in and having a better understanding, finding someone that I want to kind of mold my values and my accomplishments around. Not exactly alike because I am my own person and my life is very different from hers. My husband is not the president or former president of the United States, so my life will be very, very different. But there are various things that, she lives her life by that I have learned through listening to her memoirs that have helped me. So being able to ask yourself, who is someone that you want to mold your life like? That may be helping you figure out where you want to go next.
Thank you. Hopefully, for the person who asked that question, that was helpful to you. Moving on to our next question, you shared the Passion Planner obviously as a great resource to help with reflection and kind of keep you on track, whether that be monthly, weekly, daily. What are some other resources that you'd recommend, whether it be books, podcasts, or a subscription-based magazine, or maybe an subscription-based newsletter? Is there anything that you'd recommend that is either on this topic or just the topic of continuing to improve both professionally and in life?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing that comes to mind for me is find yourself an accountability partner. And that person can be someone in your personal life, or it could be a certified coach like me. Some people prefer to work with someone who's like a third party who's not in their life, so they don't feel that pressure. In this case, many of my clients work with me to make sure that they can share with me all types of things that they're thinking about, and I hold them accountable to what we've discussed. Because I'll tell you this now, everything in life will have some hurdles for you to cross. And when you meet those hurdles is when is going to test you to see if that thing that you want to accomplish is actually as important to you as you say. And without your accountability partner, you may easily give up, which is fine, but that means that you will likely live a life that's not so thriving, that's full of giving up. And I'm pretty sure you're not here in this webinar to live that kind of life, right? So find you an accountability partner. If you're comfortable with someone in your personal life, a best friend, a sibling, a parent, your partner, your spouse, tell them the things that you want to accomplish. Tell them the things that you're thinking about. Hopefully they are supportive and they listen to you, not necessarily try to guide you to where you should go, because that's not their job. An accountability partner is really just there to be a reflection, but someone to hold you to what you have shared with them. That's the first thing I would say. In terms of books, in terms of subscriptions, oh my goodness, there's so many resources. I would highly encourage you to maybe think about a specific area that you're most passionate about, and then do a quick Google search as to what associations there might be that is related to that topic that you're interested in. Or again, look into your network, reach out to the UCLA Alumni Association to help you find people who are in that area and get you connected in that aspect. I recently transitioned to a position that is very different from my previous position. For those of you in higher education and philanthropy, I went from being a major gift officer to running an annual gift leadership program. And it's a whole new world for me. And so what I did was I reached out to some colleagues who lead their leadership annual gift programs at their higher education institution and asked them, what associations are you a part of? Who's in your network that you talk to about the various things that need to happen in your world? That's something that you can look to do as well. I mentioned Michelle Obama, so I really enjoy reading, or I should say listening, because I audiobook now, to memoirs. Memoirs are a really big part of my, I guess, filling my cup, for lack of better words, to help me think about the different perspectives. Of course, I'm hearing about people's life experiences, and some people I'm really in tune with, and some people I'm like, I probably wouldn't have done that way, but okay. So, but that's what's allowing me to feel more fulfilled and thriving, because I'm hearing about other perspectives that are helping me really engage in my own life and better understand what my values are and what I want to achieve. If you want specific like feedback or specific examples, feel free to reach out to me in terms of like books and things like that. There are plenty of books and podcasts and resources that you may be interested in, but I'd love to have a conversation with you specifically about what area you want to thrive in. I have parenting stuff, I have sports stuff, I have overall starting a business stuff, anything like that. I'm happy to talk with you.
I think that that's a perfect segue into just kind of closing out this session. And we shared into the chat ways to kind of stay connected with you. So if you'd like to share those with those viewing, feel free to do that.
Absolutely. So just quickly, there are a few ways that you all could work with me if you'd like to. I offer one-on-one coaching, which I think is most efficient for someone who is hyper-focused and someone who really is looking for an accountability partner. I've also done several speaking engagements at various venues. I've done it in religious settings. I've done it for executive team. I've also been to coaching practices for basketball teams and things like that, and did a little pep talk. So there's various topics that I typically speak about, but overall, I'm happy to work with you if you need someone for a speaking engagement. And lastly, I also offer group coaching. So consistently, I'm working with groups of people who are trying to accomplish something together and helping you all kind of build a team and strengthen your leadership skills. And I'd love to stay connected with each of you if you are interested in finding out more about what I work on. My website is called www.resiliency.com. And then if you are interested in getting the slides today and potential to win a free mini coaching session with me, please use the link there to subscribe to my newsletter. And I believe the links are also in the chat, so it should be easier for you. I also mentioned that I've written an article on transferable skills. This article is mostly for athletes transitioning into the workforce, so the content may be a little more relevant to that niche of people, but it is the same 7 skills that we talked about today. So feel free to take a look at it and feel free to share it with someone whom you think might benefit from it. If you are interested in learning more about working with me, or really have some more intimate questions that you'd like to share that you don't want to share with the public setting, that's totally fine. Sign up for a free consultation call. And as I mentioned, I am a Passion Planner ambassador. So with this link below and using that promo code, you're welcome to get 10% off and start your passion planner lifestyle as well. And just a friendly reminder that the code does change monthly. So if you do happen to use it another month, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to update the code for you. And with that, thank you for allowing me to be here. I am a proud Bruin business owner from the first cohort of Bruin Business 100. And my Instagram and email address is right there, or you're welcome to find me on my website. And I pass it back to you, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy. We got a question in the chat that asked whether or not all these different links would be shared out, and they will in a follow-up email later on this week. So if you didn't get a chance to save them, don't worry, we will get them to you so that you can take full advantage of all the things that Lucy has to offer. Before we conclude, I really would like to encourage you to explore our newly launched Bruin Promise website. It's an opportunity for Bruins to take advantage of all the things that UCLA has to offer, whether it be career or just arts and culture, different tools and resources available for you to continue the path to lifelong learning and stay engaged with the university. If you haven't completed the program feedback survey, please take some time to do that. You'll be prompted to do so once we end the webinar today. And then if you're interested in checking out our next Career Coaches webinar, the topic is on dropping baggage and leaping into a career and life that's waiting for you, April 20th at 6 p.m. So not the lunch hour. If you'd like to register, check out the link. Again, we will be sending this in a follow-up email. And then most importantly, thank you, Lucy, for taking the time out of your lunch hour to be here with us. We really enjoyed just hearing your insights, your advice, and hopefully the Bruins on the call today got a lot out of it. And with that, everyone who joined, thank you for being here as well. And go Bruins.
Go Bruins. Thank you.